We are live. How's everybody doing today? My name is Alan Roberts, and with me today, my pleasure is to welcome Dr. Alan Chen. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. I'm in a galaxy far, far away, I guess, undisclosed location. But no, I'm doing well. Things are busy in a good way. And although there are times like these, though, kind of wish that they invented Mars travel, moon travel, just so I can watch everything from a long, long distance.
Distance away, because shit's crazy right now.
Yeah, shit's hitting the fan, that's for sure. But everything in my life, at least, is okay. So I guess I got that going for me.
Well, that's all that matters, man. That's all. Yeah. That's all we honestly give a shit about, is if we're okay. You know.
Exactly.
But very grateful, very grateful. But holy shit, shit's crazy.
Speaking of which,
one of the things we wanted to talk about today, and I can't even believe I got to say this out loud. I can't even believe I need to talk about this, but this is, because he's a doctor, so I'm saying this, but this is why you don't trust your doctors. Make them earn your trust. I actually saw you posting about that earlier. There is there is nothing that your doctor should be able to prescribe to you, suggest to you, or something like that they cannot explain fully. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what we're about to talk about makes it so that they are not even capable of explaining stuff, even when they think they are, in many cases. Mm-hmm. It takes it literally out of your guys' hands, because you are told one thing, and just like we are told to trust our doctor, you guys are told to trust the accreditation bodies for drugs, procedures, licensure, and everything like that, right? Well, if that's
from HOAs,
it really is. Mm-hmm. But now it turns out that there's been a plethora of reasons, but this is wild to me. It's truly fucked up. I can't even get over that this is a thing and that people aren't in jail for this. That's my thing. I can't believe people are not actually in jail for this stuff.
Well, at this point, I'm not terribly surprised, because look at the COVID vaccine. It wasn't. It skipped a lot of steps and got out there, and they made a shitload of money on it.
It skipped a ton of steps, and I think that that's a huge issue with a lot of this, right? Mm-hmm. People are screaming, "It's safe and effective! It's safe and effective!" They have no idea if it is, to be honest.
What does that mean?
What does safe and effective mean? Because I posted a bunch of stuff from my feed a while back about this, right? Of even the COVID stuff. There's Dr. Rachel Walensky, who was head of the CDC in September of 2021, went on a long basically media tour with what seemed to be the very express purpose of making sure that they got as many pregnant women to take the COVID vaccine as possible, right? Mm-hmm. And to me, I just don't know why she's not in jail, because she openly lied about multiple factors. But then you find out that the FDA openly lies about saying whether stuff is safe and effective. And this, again, I don't care if you like me, don't like me, if you're MAGA, conservative, leftist, rightist, anything like that. This transcends that shit, because a study done recently showed that 73% of drugs approved from 2011 to 2022 had didn't meet the safety requirements to be put out. They didn't have any of the data, right? Mm-hmm. And to me, I can't understand how we've gotten here necessarily. You know what I mean? What has it always been this way in medicine since you had since you had access, or what?
Yeah, two things. One, it's the access to the information back then, at least, because we didn't have AI back then, was challenging. I'll give you an example. I don't know if folks used or used to use something called UpToDate, but because of all its licensures, I had to log into my account, and then it's slow as hell, and then I had to type in the search words, and the search words are ineffective. So it was a large barrier to entry to find information like that. So already I don't have time for that. I'm just gonna kind of at some point either just get patient testimonials or just find other ways to get the information. And then unfortunately, the other sources of information come from not the best sources. So folks, attendings, fellow attendings who have used the drug and can talk anecdotally, which is not always accurate. Anecdotal evidence is kind of one of the least strong forms of evidence.
Right.
And then we just kind of let that run amok. And then now we have social media where people are saying like, oh, Ozempic is great. Ozempic sucks. Oh, but Ozempic did this to me. Ozempic did not do that to me. That kind of thing. And everybody's sort of just like clouding all this noise into what's actually the truth. And
Right.
the way to get to the truth is, a well-performed study, which, doesn't surprise me that we don't have this, because it was just kind of clouded by all this noise that we have developed for ourselves, and we just never noticed it until this paper showed something. You had an article that you showed me citing this.
Yeah, I have it. Hang on one second.
Yeah.
So this is what's wild is that, like, and here's, again, I'm sure people are going to accuse me of like this, of being just lopsided on something, but this is PBS, bitches. Like while it's government funded, it's one of the most left-leaning fucking rags there is, right?
As mainstream as it gets, yeah.
Yeah, and this is from 2018, and it says, as pharma companies underwrite 3/4 of the FDA's budget for scientific reviews, the agency increasingly fast-tracked expensive drugs with significant side effects and unproven health benefits. Like, how do we have our approving body of drugs, approves drugs without proven health benefit? Like, it is clearly a pay-for-play system, and we've known about it for a while. And by the way, for those of you that are going to argue back about the 75%, all in total, the FDA is about 48% funded by the pharmaceutical industry, their fees and everything like that. The department that approves drugs is 75% funded by that. Like, the bulk of that department comes from the fees. So that's crazy.
Follow the money. Follow the money.
Follow the money. This is like, this whole thing is wild. Nuplazid, a drug for hallucinations and delusions associated with Parkinson's disease, failed 2 clinical trials. In the third trial, under a revised standard for measuring its effect, it showed minimal benefit. Overall, more patients died or had serious side effects from Nuplazid. I can't pronounce those things.
I have no idea.
Than after receiving no treatment. So basically, this drug killed more people than if they didn't take the drug at all, and it's still approved. Patients on Iloric, a gout drug, suffered more heart attacks, strokes, and heart failure in 2 of 3 trials than did their counterparts on standard or no medication. Nevertheless, the U.S. Food and Drug approved both of these drugs with a deadly aftermath. Uloric's manufacturer reported last November that patients on the drug were 34% more likely to die from heart disease than people taking alternative gout medication. And since the FDA fast-tracked approval of Nuplazid, and it went onto market in 2016 at the price of $24,000 a year, there have been 6,800 reports of adverse effects for patients on the drug, including 887 deaths.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And I wish we could, like, the debate's not even being had.
Yeah, well, one thing that I'm actually interested in with all this is that the drugs that they're pushing, I'm wondering how much of them are for diseases that are pretty much like we don't have cures for. So, i.e., Parkinson's, that we don't really have we have symptom relief, but we don't really have cures. So I'm wondering if some of these are able to be pushed on that note, be like, oh, we got nothing better, like, just give it a shot and just see what happens, like, and throw it out there into the market and see if it does anything. That's like part of, like, I'm wondering how they get away with it also. Because Parkinson's is, there's no pure quote cure, but like, right now we have drugs for symptom relief. Dementia is another one. Alzheimer's dementia, that is. Yeah,
but Alzheimer's dementia, like, and here's another thing too, and this is factual, okay? The base data and studies for Alzheimer's was fraudulent. like the original data to find, like, because remember it used to be all about, like, the plaque buildup in the brain, right? And then they realized that's just a symptom of other problems, and they're looking at it being hyperinsulinemia. as it's basically like a type of diabetes. It's
Type 3
diabetes of the brain. Yeah.
We call it type 3 diabetes in the alternative world.
Yeah. And I even then that's a whole other topic. The ADHD is about to take over. Hang on a second. Type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and brain diabetes are three completely different things. Just because, but it drives me crazy, especially for type 1s. Type 1 diabetes should not be lumped in with type 2 diabetes because it has complete different biological actions. You know what I mean? Like type 1 diabetes is when the body doesn't produce insulin, and your body you need to artificially introduce it. And I've got type 1 diabetes clients down to just slow acting insulin. They take no fast acting insulin because that's the thing. The slow acting insulin won't cause a surge. The fast acting is what you got to watch for, because that's still in type 1 diabetics. Type 1 diabetics can still become insulin resistant, and that's a very serious danger, because if they become insulin resistant, they just die. So, I mean, it's because that's the end of it. Your cells won't accept any nutrients; they just die, right? Yeah. But that's my beef about type 1 and type 2. And type 2 is a lifestyle-driven illness that's 95% avoidable, reversible, or manageable, without medication. You guys just would rather stick yourself and eat the cake.
Can't confirm.
Right, can't confirm. Yeah. But it's like the data 20 years ago that many drugs, many treatments, many modalities were based upon for Alzheimer's was fraudulent. Which is amazing that we still have not shifted. But it's also the same thing. Like, not too long ago, they came out with a study. Not a study, but like a meta-analysis that shows that SSRIs are really only beneficial for people that have very severe depression, and for mild to medium depression is no better than placebo. It's just a side effect generator, right? And I also argue, and this is I also argue this: the FDA has it set up where people that don't receive any psychological training in their school, in schooling, can prescribe psychedelic medications, right? Like, I don't it's so good to be friends with you, because I have so many questions about your profession that I don't understand. Like, how is that? How can a general practitioner prescribe an antidepressant when they're not trained in psychology?
I think it's a product of the fact that mental health in general, like the access to it is so poor, and that we have to open it up to other folks, and the next best profession would be the general practitioners. Okay. And and by the way, just to kind of clear something up, like, I'm not totally against all medications. I think the best use for them is, you sort of alluded to this, is acute situations or very, very extreme situations, to get them to the point where they can function, and then get to the rest of the non-pharmaceutical methods, preventative health and all that. Because if you're sort of in that acute state where you're like on the precipice of either death or complete calamity, you got to get yourself out of that first. And then most medications are never meant to be taken like chronically. So that's another thing that I think we get wrong a lot in medicine, is that we just we rely too heavily on it. But yeah, there's right now a demand for services, despite everything we're talking about. We live in a bubble where we're trying to get people off of the medications, but it's there's still hospitals being built. They're all understaffed. We're short on pretty much almost every profession in healthcare, despite how much money they're making. So yeah, there's still demand, and that's why there's another side issue, if you will, of also like opening up more services that nurse practitioners and physician assistants can apply. And there's a lot of controversy behind that. That's another topic for another time. But it's right now, it's just the demand is so high, and that they gotta be more open to having other people being able to give access to care.
So that to me makes sense a little bit. But if that's the case, then why don't they change the curriculum to get trained on these things? It's the same thing like nutrition. Like, I will make the argument, and again, for everybody understanding, me and him are very good friends. But I always make the argument that doctors aren't really qualified to treat metabolic disorder by their education. Like
I've
just
said that
not.
before too on this channel too. Like it's not even on our board or like on our testing. Like I think I did a video on this a while back, but it's not even in our curriculum in our boards. Metabolic disease is
It's not in the boards at all.
Like in the standard step 1, 2, and 3, at least last time I checked, like basics of nutrition, like what is a protein, what is a fat, and all that, not in there.
Holy shit!
The processed food stuff is not in there. None of that stuff is in there. Like everything that I talk about on my channel, I would say 98 or 9% of it, I never learned in medical school. So like everything everything I talk about on my channel is learned outside of medical school from personal experience. Reading a lot, and then just listening to other people talk about health. It was never really brought up to us, and it makes sense because as to like how healthcare is being practiced nowadays, it's just non-existent.
That's wild. I mean, it really, really, really is. That. Yeah. By the way, the Alzheimer's stuff we were talking about, it was in 2022. Allegations of fraud emerged concerning a highly influential 2006. Alzheimer's study published in Nature. The study co-authored by Sylvan Lesnie and Karen Ash from the University of Minnesota proposed that a specific amyloid protein known as AB56 might be responsible for cognitive decline in Alzheimer's disease. This hypothesis significantly influenced research funding and direction, guiding billions of dollars into amyloid research over the following years. The controversy began when a neuroscientist, Matthew Schrang from Vanderbilt University, raised concerns about the validity of images in the 2006 paper, suggesting they may have been manipulated to support the hypothesis. Schrang and other researchers identified as many as 10 papers on the protein that warranted deeper scrutiny. The investigation into these allegations has raised questions about the reliability of the data and the conclusions drawn from the study. The implications of these allegations are significant, as they suggest the research into Alzheimer's disease has been misdirected for nearly 16 years, potentially wasting substantial resources and delaying development of effective treatments, not to mention killing people. But despite these allegations, the amyloid hypothesis remains supported by a vast body of research, and the scientific community continues to explore the role of amyloid proteins.
Yeah.
The University of Minnesota is currently investigating Lesnie on the potential manipulation of images that has been described as devastating.
So he gets to go to jail. Or this person gets to go to jail.
He should.
Well, we're getting to the point where we're now in the revealing phase. So at least we're getting somewhere. But some of the other folks, though, out there in the FDA are sort of getting away scot-free, at least for what we know.
So hang on. We got a few questions I'm just going to address real quick.
Yeah.
My physician says I'm fine despite being larger than average. Your physician's a fucking liar and stupid.
Yeah.
Morbid obesity is 100% of the time unhealthy, if for no other reason than the ejection fraction of your heart and gravity existing along with your knees.
Right.
So tell your doctor that Alan Roberts said he's a fucking idiot. And SSRIs have worked wonders for you. Sure they have. You believe a doctor is telling you that being fat's okay. They're working great, buddy.
It'd be even better if you get off of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. I said today on a live that I think that my wife and I individually have cured more cases of type 2 diabetes and definitely pre-diabetes than the average physician. That shouldn't be that way, but it's a very real, very likely statistic. I probably several hundred people, if not into 1,000 people, we've helped escape pre-diabetes, awesome. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's awesome. It is. It's awesome. But just so everybody understands, it's actually kind of fucking basics. like we do this in our coaching, and it's easy to say, it's hard to do. But for morbidly obese people, getting proper sleep, hydration, stress relief, making sure you mindfully eat your food, avoiding ultra processed foods, and getting daily exercise, and having good societal relations with people like spouse, family, that's way healthier than any medication you're going to be on. Mm-hmm. That right there has changed more people's pre-diabetes. And then when we add the supplements onto it and everything like that, it really crushes it, especially alchemy. Alchemy is a wonder for diabetes. But
it's almost like keeping it simple is the way to go,
It's absolutely the way to go. I talked about did you see the RFK did you see the RFK fitness tracker thing?
I have not, actually.
RFK wants to encourage every American to own a fitness tracker, own a wearable fitness tracker. First of all, here's the thing that irked me, and I said this earlier on the day.
Yeah.
If anybody in RFK's family or himself owns any type of stock in any wearable company, fuck that. It's done, right?
Right.
But secondly, that's stupid. Fitness trackers for a morbidly obese person do nothing but fuck with them. Okay.
Yeah. Overload of information.
It's information overload, and it sets you up to feel like shit every day. Like I didn't get my 10,000 steps. If you got 9, it's better than you sitting on your fucking ass, right? And it's just like he wants it to the point where it's constant blood glucose, constant like your sleep pattern, you track your food on everything like that. Like there's obviously very serious safety concerns having every single American have their name attached to biometrics, by the way.
I didn't think you were gonna get to that one.
It's the first place my mind went. But secondly, it's not going to help people. The fitness trackers like that type of information is good for people like Alan and me. People like we're already in shape and we're trying to optimize what we're doing. And I still don't wear them at all because I'll work out harder and I'll eat cleaner. I don't give a fuck, and I like eating the way I eat. So, but yeah, dude, like, I mean, again, like all of this is getting very wonky to me. I'm a big Make America Healthy Again person. Obviously, Mark and I came up with the name. Frankly, it was stolen from us. We came up with it years. It came up with it years ago. I have shirts with it printed on from years ago. But the thing is, I don't think I'm going to try to sue the director of the HHS. But the thing is that this isn't making America healthy again. Wearables are not going to make America healthy again.
Yeah, can you name a program out there that's run by the government that was actually like fully 100% successful?
Well, no. If the program is raising our debt, yeah.
Oh yeah, well, Ukraine or all that. Yeah, sure, okay.
Fine, yeah, I'm sure Ukraine thinks our policies are very successful.
Oh yeah, exactly. But again, government in general, again, like we said before, follow the money. I think I saw somewhere, and I haven't confirmed this, so I mean, don't shoot the messenger. But Casey Means, our new Surgeon General, apparently owns a wearable company. So
does he? Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Casey Means. Oh no, wait. Yeah, Casey Means. Yeah, I believe her company owns a wearable technology.
Unfucking acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you're right. It does. It's a niche thing. Same thing with I don't know how you feel about MyFitnessPal. Those kinds of apps, like that can get very overwhelming for people. Like I usually see like folks that are bodybuilding and have to like count every calorie to the nth degree.
Right.
That's where it's useful. But again, like even I'm getting overloaded with some of this information because I have an Oura Ring as well. That's mainly for sleep, and I have issues with sleep. I'm pretty busy, so yeah, I'm gonna have issues with some sleep. But I mean,
you take magnesium glycinate?
Yes.
How much?
And now you're making me recall all this stuff. Yeah. Why do you ask?
Because it's a weight titrated based supplement.
Yeah. I'll have to look it up.
Like I take 1,200 milligrams every night.
Yeah, that's where it's the magnitude that I forget. Because I'm so used to it like that, and I just like these kinds of numbers kind of leave my brain. But anyway, it's just depends on what your goal is. You need to have a goal with all these trackers, and like specifically to see either one, the tracker is for you, and then two, to see if it'll help you towards your goal. Yeah, I mean, I wear a Garmin because I go hiking a lot, so I mean, I use the GPS to make sure I don't get lost and trapped somewhere.
Right.
That's perfect for me. And also I do get my miles, get my steps, and all that stuff. So yeah. Again, you have to be able to use it properly, and and for it to be worthwhile. Otherwise, it's just like extra noise that you don't need.
I'm sorry, guys. I checked this out. So this guy's obviously a troll, but I wish our society focused less on fitness. It puts a lot of people under tremendous stress. You're just a fucking
Cool.
like, if you're not trolling, you're just too fucking weak to be here. So I'm blocking you. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, if he's trolling, why have him? If he's not trolling, he's too fucking stupid to understand what we're saying. So bye.
There's a lot of negativity as well. It's sort of creeping in there.
Well, my thing, like being fit should be the most promoted and incentivized thing in our country. It would save trillions of fucking dollars a year. Trillions. We spend the new estimate for 2025. Have you heard the new estimate of how much we're going to fucking spend in healthcare this year? $5.3 trillion motherfucking dollars.
You could buy like 4 cranes.
90% of which is chronic and mental illness. 90%.
Gosh. Yeah, that shows you the magnitude of like how big of a problem this is. And again, like I said before, the demand for all sorts of healthcare workers is still way up, despite all the stuff that we're trying to do, you know?
Well, I argue that the demand is up because that's the way they want it. Like if they keep the demand up and they don't, there's not enough doctors, there's not enough nurses, they can charge premium because then supply is short for demand. And as long as demand keeps increasing because people keep face fucking themselves with sugar every day, like it's going to keep going up and it's going to be pressed. I'm from Pittsburgh originally. I don't know if you've ever been, but
I have.
When I grew up there, and by the way, for those of you that are familiar with the area, I lived in the South Hills. So Route 51 was our main thoroughfare, the main highway, right? When I grew up, there was Jefferson Hospital, which was in Pleasant Hills, and there was UPMC, which was almost in town, right? Now you cannot go a half a mile on Route 51 without there being a diabetes clinic, a Med First, a dialysis clinic. Like there's it's something every fucking half mile, right? And I told my mom when I was up there, I was like, the problem is we're so sick. Like if a city is this sick, that's the goddamn problem, and it's wild because Pittsburgh's like the beer drinking capital of the world too. So it's like you have like, oh dude, I was drinking beer when I was like 13 years old at my family's table. So, different times.
Yeah, right.
But there's so much demand for healthcare because everybody's so sickly, right? We're going to spend $5.3 trillion, and what 4.7 trillion of it or 4.6 trillion of it is going to be from like fucking from chronic and mental illness, and then 90% of that is likely avoidable, manageable, or mitigatable by lifestyle. So $4 trillion because people don't want to take personal responsibility. That's why healthcare is so much. That's what we need to incentivize. And I have a beautiful way to do it. It would just really piss people off. But if you have a chronic illness, we give you 90 days to get your shit straight, and then you pay for all chronic illness related stuff out of your pocket.
I'm down with that.
I mean, because here's the thing: we're not denying care, but we'll make it so you can't afford to face fuck yourself with the food, or you can't afford the medications, and then it's just natural selection. And I'm a big believer that natural selection needs to start natural selecting again.
Yeah, that's what I always wondered with the shows like My 600-Pound Life. Like, how do they afford all that food? Like, because it can't be like to eat that much fast food in a day like that. I mean, that's gotta be like at least like what $300-400 a day. Like, how do they afford that? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, what do they do for work to get them? Or actually, hold on. There could be some subsidy out there that I'm not aware of, but yeah, that could be the case. But anyway, like it just shocked me. Like, where do y'all get this money from? Like, where's it coming from?
I don't understand. That's another bad thing too. Like, there's multiple things that RFK has let me down on already, and I'm kind of disappointed. One of them is the pharmaceutical ads are still on TV. We're one of 2 countries that do that. The only other country is New Zealand, and they're much tighter about it than we are. Like, I have this statement, and once again, he's a doctor, but I don't mean this to him. We're good friends, but if there's a commercial on TV and it says, "Go ask your doctor about XYZ medication," and you walk into your doctor's office and you say, "Hey, what about this medication?" and they're like, "Oh yeah, I can put you on that." They're either negligent because you should have been on it, or they're just a drug dealer giving you the fucking drug because you asked about it. Like, at no point in time should there be a commercial stating, "Ask your doctor about this." Like your doctor should already be on top of that shit, you know?
Yeah. The other thing is when they go through the list of side effects and they go, and then when you slow it down, it's just like, wait, they like what some of them are including like extreme depression, suicidal thoughts, and death. I'm like, did anybody like hear that? Like, and maybe that's why they spoke so fast. I'm like, does anybody like want to address that elephant in the room? Like,
well, they're depending on people being stupid and not fucking even listening to it or reading the inserts. All these things come with inserts, you know. Like, I mean, it could literally say penis exploding on it, and people are still be like, oh well, like, it's better than having to not eat cake. You know, it's like fucking stupid, you know.
Actually, here's a funny anecdote about drugs in general. I would say a good amount of them were discovered by accident, and what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. Cialis used to be first marketed for hypertension, and now that they realize, oh, it's giving people some really elongated boners, I'm like, maybe we should do something about that, because I mean that would sell. That would absolutely sell, and especially with a lot of people that these days, especially, are having issues with sexual dysfunction. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and then they made a killing off of it. Like, you'd be surprised at like how many drugs were discovered that way. Like, it's like by accident.
Oh yeah. Tons are discovered that way. Which, by the way, 5 milligrams of Cialis has been a day per day has been shown to be massively heart protective. Like, I mean, it's like
I did hear about that recently. That was very interesting.
Yeah. And here's the thing: like, I'm not anti-drug. For fuck's sake, I inject myself with testosterone every week, twice. Right. You know, like, I'm not anti-drug.
Yeah.
I am very, 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 very like drugs as a last resort. Like, shit, I waited till I was 53 and my testosterone level had like literally tanked for over a year before I fucking went on TRT. Like, I mean, because I'm on no other medications, like, at all whatsoever. And I will argue to everybody that one of the reasons why I'm going to be 54 this summer and I'm not on medications is now because I am on TRT. If I wasn't on TRT, I can guarantee you they would have had me on an antidepressant, because I was fucking sad as shit all the goddamn time. I would cry at fucking commercials, like, embarrassingly. And I could just feel my muscle mass just fucking, like, just dissipating. Like, I mean, like, I could just feel it, you know? Everything felt super fucking heavy. A workout that with my testosterone levels the way they are now, that I wouldn't even be sore from, would cripple me for 3 fucking days. Like, I would probably be on tons of medications and have a very low quality of life if I didn't go on TRT. So that's why it's the only one. So it's a last resort. But something like Cialis, 5 milligrams is shown to be good. It's the same thing. Like, I'm not against supplementation or medication if it's used correctly and we have the actual safety data for it, right? But what we're talking about here is how they really don't know if some of these medications are safe at all. Like, I think let me pull that back up here. It was.
You're looking up the FDA, that article we just read.
FDA. But also here it is. So, the U.S. Drug and Food Administration faces significant scrutiny over drug approval process, with multiple investigations revealing that hundreds of drugs have been approved without sufficient evidence of safety or efficacy. A 2-year investigation, 2 years, found that 73% of the 429 drugs approved by the FDA from 2013 to 2022 failed to meet the agency's 4 foundational standards for proving effectiveness. This includes cases where drugs were approved based on preliminary surrogate outcomes rather than survival data, such as in cancer treatments, where only 2.4% of the 123 cancer drugs met all 4 scientific criteria. One notable example was Elamiron, approved in 1996 for interstitial cystitis. God, how the fuck do you guys pronounce all this shit?
Interstitial cystitis? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which my ADHD has a hard time with it. It really does.
Yeah.
Which was authorized based on close to zero data, quote unquote, and later found to be no better than placebo after an 18-year delay in follow-up studies. Similarly, Avastin, approved for metastatic breast cancer, was fast-tracked based on progression-free survival, but subsequent trials showed no improvement in overall survival, leading to a controversial decision to retain it on the market. The FDA's reliance on expedited pathways such as accelerated approval and fast-track programs has also been criticized. These programs allow drugs to be approved based on surrogate endpoints, which may not guarantee clinical benefit. This approach has led to concerns that the agency's threshold of evidence can't go any lower because it's already in the dirt. And that's a quote from the doctor. Like literally, quote, can't go any lower because it's already in the dirt, end quote. Additionally, the FDA's funding model, which is heavily influenced by industry users' fees, has raised questions about the independence and the ability to maintain rigorous standards. Experts argue that the agency needs to be more independent from industry it regulates and to use high-quality science to assess the safety and efficacy of new drugs.
It's almost as if the approval, the FDA approvals and this, the CDC endorsements and all that, it's like not really a proxy for it being safe.
No, it's a pay for play.
Yeah.
It's a pay for play. It really is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we supposedly have the person who's going to make America healthy again in the position that they need to fucking be in with full approval from Orange Man, right? Wearables and like the dye thing, great. Okay, you got rid of the dyes. Woohoo! That's great. Lovely. But we went from 2024, $4.5 trillion total expenditure for healthcare to the projected of 2025 is 5.3. That's unsustainable. Like everybody, does everybody grasp that like the taxes spent on healthcare, are twice what the military budget is?
Not surprised. I'm not that surprised, to be honest with you.
It's like people don't understand this, right? But it's more than 2 times the taxes from CMS, Medicare, Medicaid, and other programs. It's over twice what the defense budget is.
Yeah,
that's not sustainable. Like that, if you look at chronic illness levels from 1950, it was like 3%.
Yeah,
like in like 75 years, we have gone from a healthy, robust nation of people that had abs, basically, to people that have beer kegs on their stomachs, sick as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like sick as fuck. And if we don't get a hold of this soon, what's it, 2026, we're going to spend $6 trillion on healthcare?
Nope. We already have enough debt as is. But, to your point, though, this is why I always say that there's no real government mandate that will really solve this.
No.
You can't litigate you can't put into law, like there's no law out there that would magically fix all this. That's why I say it all comes down to culture. We have to have to, within our circle of influences, we have to lead the charge into what healthy lifestyle actually looks like. And it's not even just like, nutrition, exercise and whatnot. It goes beyond that. It's like a lot of it's up here, like I said before.
Yeah.
And just the mindset that you need to have to be able to use the tools of exercise, nutrition, to be able to get you to that end point. So yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, great. Like Maha, let's see what they can do. Great. Like, I mean, it's better than what's her name? Rachel Levine that we got.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I'll give them credit for that, but that's a really low bar that we set there.
Being a little better than a mentally ill fat man is good.
Who thinks he's a woman? Yes, yeah.
Who thinks he's a woman? Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was like par for the course for the times at that time. But anyway,
yes.
Yeah. But again, we can't count on the government to change us. They don't give a shit about us. They don't give a fuck. And the person that needs to give a fuck is you. Yourself.
Yes, fucking yes. That's the thing. The government, you should not want the government in your healthcare to fucking begin with.
In your life,
the government is one of and you're like, well, I'm in the midst of writing like 3 different books right now. That's why my ADHD works. One day I work on one day I work on another, one day I work on another, and then I go back because that way, like it's something about the hyperfocus works for me, right? And one of them is literally about how the government should be next to the federal government should be next to non-existent. And this is what amazes me. Right now, they collect trillions of fucking dollars from you. And then they fucking borrow trillions of dollars in our name to spend for us to be the sickest fucking population in the fucking world. It's amazing, right?
And they're printing money too, by the way. Don't forget that one.
And they're printing money. They're just printing it.
Yeah.
The federal government should secure our borders, provide a common defense army, and protect our rights from the states. There should be, by the Constitution, no CDC, no FDA, no USDA, especially no fucking ATF. ATF is at face fucking value unconstitutional. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. You have no business telling me what I can't drink, what I can't fucking smoke, and what I can fucking what firearms I can have. I have no business doing any of that. They have no business touching any of that. Who the fuck do you think you are to tell me what I can do with my goddamn life?
Do you find it funny that they combine those three, like alcohol and firearms, don't really mix well together? Like it's just funny that they combine those three. I don't know why.
I did see that they're merging the ATF and the DEA. Why don't we just get rid of both of them? Fucking assholes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally on board with that. Like, just more libertarian than anything, because like I've experienced
America only, baby. America only. I got shirts.
Exactly.
I got shirts printed up.
Yeah.
Like nothing. There should be no policy that the federal government does that doesn't benefit the American citizen primarily and abundantly, disproportionately for who else it benefits. Like if we make a trade deal, the only way we should make any trade deals is if it absolutely disproportionately benefits the people that live in the largest economy in the world with the largest military in the world. Like that's the rest of the world should be kissing America's fucking ass. You want to pay for, you want to play in our fucking in the largest economy in the world? You're going to pay us. Like, I mean, it's so fucked up. I'm looking forward to releasing that book too, probably sometime next week or the week after.
What's this book that you're talking about?
America Only: How to Save Our Republic.
Nice.
You know, like, but it's like fucking radical. People are going to be like,
what?
Well, it's right because I'm talking about the near complete dismantling of the federal government. You know what I mean? Like, the only way we're ever going to get out of debt is to take a drastic, radical action. Like, we need to reduce this. We need to reduce the expenditure of the federal government to under $2 trillion, and then we need to I have a whole plan where between tariffs, user fees, and consumption tax that doesn't include food. Basics, as well as it does. You can't tax firearms or ammo because they're a right. The government should have no business in doing those anyway. You shouldn't tax a right. But also closing all foreign military bases, lining our borders with the military that comes home, and just little policy procedures. Like if anybody dares shoot an American citizen, like if say Syria shoots down an American plane, we should make that motherfucker a parking lot and take all their resources. Like, if you want to fuck with us, we will fucking end you. Send a strong message, you know?
On that note, what do you think? Do you think Doge did a good job?
Yes and no. Okay. Right? Like first of all, why did we stop digging?
That's a good point.
I think that to a certain degree, Doge did a good job, informing us that all this shit's going on. As far as I know, none of those cuts have been made. Actually, none of them are permanent because they haven't been done codified by Congress. But also, why did we stop there? Like, I want to see the gold in Fort Knox. You motherfuckers talked a big game about going in there. We never went in there. I want to see it. And if it's not there, all you motherfuckers should line up for the squad. I mean, I really mean that. Like, everybody should line up. But I think that, the reason why they stopped is that, it was starting to get to the point where it was going to become completely undeniable that the federal government is corrupt to the fucking core. It's corrupt to the core. We cannot function with the government in this way. That's why America Only reboots it basically back to its original fucking core concepts of border security, common defense, and protecting our rights. That's the only three things that the federal government should be involved in. The fuck all. Everything else should be done by the states.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The federal government means a huge factory reset. That's what it needs. Yeah. That's the only, and again, same thing with healthcare. We just need to to wipe it all out, wipe the slate clean, start from scratch. Yeah, we
got to get rid of the allopathic form of healthcare, which is basically pharmaceutical, surgical first. It needs to be an amalgamation because don't get me wrong, I think that pharmaceuticals and surgery is very beneficial, especially for acute injury. But for chronic illness, again, they're not qualified. They're just not. But I completely agree with that. Now, however, I did want to address this too. We're pretty fucked with RFK Jr. running the show. We are in, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not too happy, but we are in vastly, and I mean fucking vastly, better shape than with the previous administration. I mean, fuck, it's like light years the goddamn away. We're no longer chopping little kids' dicks off and breasts off. Like, we're actually starting to address the actual shit. Like, dude, trying to pretend that we're, like, I will say this: we are vastly less fucked with him in front of HHS than we were before. Vastly less. It is a radical, and I mean light year improvement from having the fucking transvestite who was fucking in charge of shit. Like fucking light years away. To even try to suggest that it's worse makes you sound stupid. I'm just letting you know. Okay.
Albeit we still are able to criticize him, due to what he's doing. Yeah, I mean, we can still do that, but those two things can happen at the same time. Like, yes, he's an upgrade, but we still got flaws.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing. I have no problem like calling people out on their shit because that's what we're supposed to do. Shit, I talk shit about Trump all the goddamn time, and it's because he deserves it. I mean, like he deserves it.
We're not perfect human beings either. Like, we have to address, we sometimes like over idolize certain people.
Absolutely,
not even just in politics, but like obviously in celebrity land and Hollywood and all that. And
I completely agree.
Once and ourselves as well, like we're not perfect either. Once we understand that and accept that and kind of take it for what it is and just kind of take a step back and look at it just like it's a natural part of life. Like, maybe people will be a little bit less aggressive in trying to be right. But again, like it's we've unfortunately been set up to the point where we're just divided and we can't agree on anything. And even though we probably have a lot of common ground, we just can't agree on it for whatever reason because our emotions get in the way. But anyway, that was kind of my ADHD moment on that front.
That's awesome. Welcome. Join in. And to hang on a sec. I mean, because I do like addressing these issues, but
sure.
I doubt RFK knows what a p-value is. Stop it. Like fucking stop. Like, it's not like he's. What has he said that's not factual?
Yeah.
Like, stop. Like, that's ridiculous, right? Like, it's not like he hasn't like listed off dozens of supported reasons that things need to change. Like, while he's not performing how I wish he would, he's doing a vastly better job than before. Like, there's just shit they promised that's not delivered. So,
and don't forget, like a lot, and don't forget, a lot of these guys are figureheads. Like, they take a lot of counsel from people smarter than them, which they should. So it's not. I mean, he may not be perfect in citing every study. I'm not perfect in citing every study. I mean, I'll admit that. That's why there's committees. They have lots of meetings. Same thing with any other prominent figure out there. There's usually a whole team behind them that assists with trying to prepare what they're going to say in front of people and all that. So. Despite we want to, I guess, like the figurehead, their responsibility is to take that heat. But just note that, especially in politics, like your level of education, if you will, I say that in quotes because like we're pretty poorly educated, not just poorly fed, but poorly educated. It doesn't mean that they can't properly lead or run an organization or do other things just because they're not educated. I mean, I hate that we correlate, like a lot of people correlate the two things. Like, you can be pretty damn well educated and still be a shitty person. Like, actually, that's actually an interesting correlation that I can probably need to think about because like the more degrees you have, like, the more entitled and like shitty of a person you can be. I actually have seen that in real life. Yeah. I don't have a study to prove it. Sorry, I don't have a study to prove it. But like, just from what I'm seeing, like the folks with the MD, PhDs, and MSs, and all these letters next to their name are like, they think they know the world, and I'm like, okay. And then with all these medical degrees, they want to comment on the war. I'm like, what the hell you know about the war? Like, it's just like they think they know everything.
So here's a couple things. Like, for pro debates, you're not doing too well. My issue is that he doesn't cite studies. I don't think he even reads them or knows how to. You sound silly. You sound ridiculous at this point. He's a highly fucking educated dude. And name one thing he's gotten wrong. Like, show me something he's gotten wrong. Besides this, by the way, he's so out of touch with autism. He said children with autism will never play baseball, hold jobs, or use a toilet unassisted. As a newsflash, people with true autism very likely won't. But it is being so massively overdiagnosed right now. Like, full ass on adults are being like, I found out I have autism. Like, shut the fuck up. You're just weird. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, stop it. Like, I mean, but come on now, dude. Like,
there is a debate out there with autism. One of the reasons why the increase in diagnoses is because the definition has been wider.
Yeah.
So there is that debate on that note. Yeah.
Well, it's also the same thing as like, okay, so we have more patients on blood pressure medication. It's not because anything really fucking changed. It's literally that we changed the fucking criteria to go on blood pressure medication about 8 years ago.
It's like, lower threshold.
They lowered the threshold, so it just put more people on blood pressure medication, which, by the way, has shown actual negative results. Like people are living less long.
Yeah.
And while I agree, it's a spectrum.
Yeah,
is it really? Is it really?
Well, spectrum. Like, how are we going to define spectrum? Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, is it really? Anyway, but.
ADHD moment? Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Dude, you try to pretend you're not upset, but he pushes information that's not backed by science. Name one right now. Name one. Name one.
Waiting.
Because
we're right here. We're waiting.
Yeah, name one. Because if it's true, I'll fucking do it. I'll check it out.
Hmm?
Hey, at least we're having fun. Nah, name one. Name something that's not backed by. Name something that's not backed by science.
Yeah. Got 5 minutes. Come on, go.
Yeah.
This.
Seriously, we got to get going.
What's this?
This is not backed by science.
Oh. That Miracell calls out disproving any leak and continues promoting.
You very realistically, you don't know if that's true or not.
Continues. I don't see the rest of the. Oh, I don't see the last part of the sentence. Did he finish that? Okay, hold on. The studies disproving any leak. Okay. So with this, here's another thing that we don't realize. Also, is that I had to for me to when I started getting on the train of what if vaccines aren't actually helping people? When I started getting on that train. The literature behind the folks on that side was hard to find. Like, I had to and I feel like PubMed also sort of suppresses it because it was like a bitch to find it. I had to again look for folks that talked about it, and then they cited the studies, and I had to go through that avenue. So it was sort of like a weird backdoor way. So that's kind of the control of information is like the scariest thing. Especially with the advent of AI that we have to all be careful about nowadays, is who's controlling the presentation of information, especially the media, being as awfully honest as they are, and all that. So yeah, I mean, there are plenty of studies, and there's been plenty of anecdotes about this, where either the doctor or the scientist loses a license, or it gets retracted for some weird reason, or it just gets suppressed somehow. It gets put into an obscure journal that nobody's heard about, right. And it gets gets suppressed that way. So that's another thing that we got to be careful of. And being able to properly criticize the literature is a real skill that I feel like should be in colleges, but it doesn't exist, unfortunately. Or at least I don't think it does. And anyway, I mean, it's something that we all have to be careful of too, because we're seeing that actively now, where even my channels have been suppressed, and because I said the wrong thing. So we're living 1984 right now. Yeah.
So I understand you say it's not backed by science, but here's my question to you: what causes autism? If you know that doesn't cause autism, what causes autism?
Yeah.
You know, it's
And,
like proving a negative. I mean, could it be that it is like literally causing it in a way that we don't know the mechanisms for yet? No, very, 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 very clearly. And by the way, to this person, dude, it is not, it is not effective and it's not safe. Like you can have a different idea of what the definition of safe is, but safe to me is it doesn't kill anybody.
Mhm.
That's safe.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you know why? I don't die if I don't take it. You know what I mean? Like, and effective. COVID's a fucking cold with an infection fatality rate of 0.05 for people under 70 and 0.23 for everybody. And if you think I made that up, that's on the World Health Organization website.
Mm-hmm.
So COVID, there was never even justification for a vaccine, which this also is not a vaccine. This would be more classified as a gene therapy because vaccines introduce a substance to your body that your body then reacts to. Gene therapies should make your body do something different than what it normally does. And this makes your body produce spike proteins. Therefore, it's a gene therapy. So I understand that everybody wants to feel good about taking the 25 boosters and eating the bugs, but there's no like actual true evidence. There's no placebo double-blind study showing that it's effective or is safe. None. So it cannot be said because since there's no double-blind placebo study, it can't be done. You know, you can't make the claim.
One thing that I guess could help some people try to get down this train, this is sort of how I started it, was studying the populations that don't vaccinate. So the first one that comes to mind is the Amish. Mm-hmm. Like they're probably one of the healthiest populations in the United States right now.
Zero autism.
And they give a big middle finger to the government. So I wish I was Amish at this point. But
yeah, no shit.
Yeah. The other population to look at would be Africa. I mean, their healthcare access is like
minimal,
non-existent. Yeah, very minimal. See what kinds of, then the rates of a lot of childhood chronic diseases, or not chronic disease, childhood diseases in general, asthma, even obesity for that matter, are so different from these populations. Like you just like kind of you can start that that process that way. And sort of see if you can explain that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But that's one way to go about it. There's plenty of other dimensions to go through. With
of course.
Yeah.
Autism is caused by a combination of genetic and environmental factors. What environmental factors? If you're going to make a statement, you better be ready. What environmental factors? I am not stating I know what causes autism. I'm stating that there's a lot of evidence to show that there's some correlation with vaccines and mercury and shit. There's a lot, But so I'm not saying it, but you're saying it's not caused by that. You don't have proof it's not at all. What environmental factors are you talking about?
Genetics is a tough one. Like I don't like it's because a lot of times, again, if we're seeing an increase in autism, like why is it happening all of a sudden? Shouldn't all the parents have it? Like that genetics is that's a weak one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like it springs from a new generation, so like that it makes it less likely to be genetics. I mean, it's not the same thing as the obesity is passed down through generations, but like that's more environmental. But if it also was environmental, why don't the parents have it? I mean, exactly. or genetic. Like why don't the parents have it?
Yeah. Oh, like obesity. Everybody's claiming that obesity is genetic, just like we're saying. The 1970s would disagree with you.
And like there is one or two really, 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 really rare genetic diseases out there that are like, I don't know, like less than 0.05% of the population have. Like they do exist, but it's not freaking 2/3 of the population.
So here we go. Environmental factors linked to autism include prenatal infection, exposure to toxins, maternal illness, older parent age, and premature birth, which can significantly do this. Yes, but you know what's a toxin? Mercury, aluminum, all sorts of shit that are in vaccines. They're all toxins, especially when you give like 4 or 5 of them at the same time. Mm-hmm. So while I'm not saying, very young, yeah, very young. So I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying that you can't say it's not. Because you said toxins, and I told you aluminum and mercury are both toxins that they get a large dose of when they're young. So you're actually formaldehyde. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're actually proving my point. And by the way, doctor. Okay,
I find it.
formaldehyde.
Yeah,
Formaldehyde's not something you want to put in your body until you're dead.
we put that in cadavers to preserve them. By the way,
Yeah.
just so you know.
Yeah.
One of the things that's crazy to me is like, why do we vaccinate for Hep B right at newborn?
Yeah,
Like,
sexually transmitted disease or bloodborne. Yeah,
bloodborne. It's like, do we plan on like injecting our newborns with like IV drugs or something like that? It's like
Wow.
or the illicit drugs. I'm like, I didn't know that was such an epidemic. Like, okay, yeah. I mean, again, like I'm not totally anti-vaccine. I think there's a time and a place for it, but not that young. Like, and not there's use case scenarios, but we way abused it. Like it's overly abused. Yeah.
All right, Alan, I'm not going to hold you up too much longer. I know you got shit to do. Tell everybody where they can find you, and we got to do this way more often. Like we need to have a regular segment or something.
Yeah, I just gotta get less busy. That's all. But no.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. YouTube at Your Health Unplugged. I'm also on Twitter at unplugged_doc. I'm very active on Twitter, so hit me up over there.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Thank you very much for joining me. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate you very much, dude. And we'll talk soon. My name is Alan Roberts for Evening Rants. Everybody have a great day. God dang it.
Take care.